The Stanley Cup Finals are over. Congrats to Vegas, by the way, on winning the cup this year. But over the course of that last series, I did hear a lot of people talking about the jersey matchup in between the Florida Panthers and the Vegas Golden Knights and how it was one of the worst jersey matchups they've ever seen in a finals before. And that definitely got me thinking about where I would rank this matchup. So that's what I'm going to do today. Now, of course, I'm not ranking every single jersey matchup in a finals. That would be way too long of a video. I do have a couple rules in place here. The first one being that I'm only going back until the 2005-2006 season, so basically just that cap era. I wanted to keep it relatively short. And the second one being that I'm only going to be taking a look at one matchup per series, because technically there is two. I mean, for example, this year, you have Vegas's home versus Florida's away. That is one matchup, and then you have Florida's home versus Vegas's away. That is the second matchup. So I didn't want to have to go through 36 different matchups. Once again, it's a little bit too long of a video for me, so I'm keeping it only to one matchup per series. And the way that I decided what matchup I would actually be ranking today is I just took the jerseys that the cup was won in. So for example, with this year, it is Vegas's home and Florida's away. But before we do get into the ranking, if you guys are new to the channel and you like hockey jersey content, please make sure to subscribe. I really would appreciate it. Starting us off at number 18, we have the 2009 season in between the Detroit Red Wings and the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Penguins ended up winning this series in 7 games. Now, I'm just not really a massive fan of either of these jerseys. I don't hate them, but I just don't really particularly like them. I think I'm in the majority of the opinion with these Pittsburgh jerseys, where I think most people aren't really a huge fan of them. For me, where they kind of falter is just the middle part of the jersey. It feels so bland, especially since it is just pure white and there's not really anything going on. It almost feels like a tank top in a way, so I'm just not really a massive fan of it. I do think that if there was maybe something at the bottom of the torso there, it would look a little bit better. As for the Red Wings, though, I do think I'm in the minority here, where I also don't love these jerseys. I think a lot of people will say, well, like, how do you not like them? They're classics. And that's exactly why I don't like them. The Red Wings have had pretty much these exact same jerseys since they became the Red Wings in like the 30s. Like, they have not really changed anything at all outside of the logo, and it's been pretty minor to the logo. They've made some changes to it, but it's still basically been the winged wheel all the time. So the fact that they basically have not changed their jerseys in almost 100 years now kind of comes off to me as lazy, and I know some people are really going to disagree with me there, but I just don't love these Red Wings jerseys. I think they are fine for what they actually are, but I really would like to see a change with the Red Wings jerseys. So for me, with both of these jerseys here, they kind of come off as uninspired to me and just a little bit bland, so that's why it's at number 18. Next up at number 17, we have the 2010 finals in between the Philadelphia Flyers and the Chicago Blackhawks. The Blackhawks ended up winning this series in 6 games. Now for me, this really does come down to those Philadelphia jerseys. I just don't really like them a whole lot, and honestly, I've never really been a massive fan of most Flyers jerseys. There are a couple that I do really like, but outside of that, I feel like most of them are either mid or just not very good. My main problem with these jerseys right here is the color of them, is the shade of orange. I just do not like that kind of traffic cone shade of orange that a lot of people kind of give to this Philadelphia Flyers jersey. I just don't like that aspect. I'm very glad that they're going to a darker shade of orange this offseason. I think it's going to look great. And the other part that really bothers me with these Flyers jerseys is the numbers on the sleeve. The fact that it goes over the white and into the orange of the jersey, I absolutely hate that. It feels just so off balance. Like, it's not really supposed to do that, but for some reason it does. Like, the fact that the white goes down into the sleeve there, you feel like it should hold the numbers, but the fact that it doesn't, I just really hate that. It looks really, really bad in my opinion, so I don't like these Flyers jerseys, and that's why it is so down low. As for the Chicago jerseys, I think they're okay, honestly. I know a lot of people love the Chicago jerseys. For myself personally, once again, it kind of falls into the camp of those Detroit jerseys, where they basically had the exact same jerseys. I think they've had these ones since the 50s. Once again, they've changed the logo a little bit, but they've had the same kind of style of jersey since I think it was like the 50s or 60s, something like that. It's been a very long time. Now, the two things that I do really like about Blackhawks jerseys is the shoulder patches. I think those are great, and also the fact that the logo is chain stitched. I absolutely love chain stitched logos. I think they are fantastic. It's always a plus in my book. Definitely gives you extra points. However, it didn't really factor into my ranking here, just because I'm trying to look at these jersey matchups more in the way of watching the game on TV, like looking at the jersey matchups there and not actually having the jerseys in person. And when you're watching the game on TV, it is so difficult to see that chain stitching in the logo, so I don't really factor that into my ranking here. Really, without the chain stitching of the logo, I find the Chicago Blackhawks jerseys, especially these white versions, just to be okay. I'm not really a massive fan of them. I don't hate them by any means, but I just think that they're fine, so that's why it ends up at 17. Now at number 16, we have the 2008 matchup, once again in between the Detroit Red Wings and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Detroit ended up winning this series in 6 games, and this is just a better version of that 2009 matchup, in my opinion at least. The Penguins jerseys just look a lot better in black. With that white version, it kind of made it feel like they were unfinished, so that black kind of fills out the rest of the jersey a little bit better. I still don't think they're great, but they're definitely better for sure. As for the Detroit jerseys, kind of same thing there. I think they look a lot better in the away version. I really like the fact that the red kind of holds the numbers there, so for me, this is just a better version of that 2009 series. Next at number 15 is the 2007 finals in between the Anaheim Ducks and the Ottawa Senators. Anaheim ended up winning this series in 5 games. Now, I know a lot of people really hate the other version of this matchup, where Ottawa is the home team and Anaheim is the away, and I kind of wanted to break my rule just for this series in particular, because I do think that is a very interesting matchup to look at, but I decided against it. I'm sticking to my rule system here. Maybe in the future I'll do another video where I take a look at the other versions of these matchups, but as for right now, looking at this matchup in particular, it really does come down to that Ducks jersey. With the Ottawa one, I like it. I think it is a very nice looking jersey, to be honest. It is somewhat similar to the current away jersey, a little bit different though, not like exactly the same. But yeah, it's just that Ducks jersey, I do not like it. It is a wear-mark jersey, and I really don't like wear-mark jerseys. The main thing that I don't like about it is the fact that it has Anaheim right above the Ducks there. It is so small and so hard to read. I really don't know why they put it there. I just don't think it looks good. The other parts of the jersey I think are okay. The swooping stripe at the bottom there, I think that is pretty interesting, and I kind of like the fact that the bronze is a little bit shiny and it's a different material, so I think that is pretty cool. But yeah, it really does come down to that wear mark. I am just not a fan of it whatsoever, to be honest. I think if it was any other Ducks logo, I would like it a lot more. Even if it was the Web D, like the one that's in the wear mark there, the D that's in the wear mark, if that was the logo on this jersey, I do think I would like it a little bit better, but the fact that it's a wear mark really brings it down for me. At number 14, I have the 2020 finals in between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Dallas Stars. Tampa ended up winning this series in 6 games, and I'll be honest with you guys, I don't have a ton to say with this jersey matchup. I think both of them are just okay jerseys. With the Dallas jerseys, I don't have anything that I hate about them. Like, I don't mind the green and the striping and the logo itself. That is all pretty okay and looks fairly nice, but it doesn't really go above that for me. It's not really anything into the amazing category or really even the good category in my eyes. It just kind of goes into the fine. As for the Tampa jerseys, I know a lot of people really hate on these current Tampa jerseys because it's basically the Toronto color scheme on a Detroit jersey, but to be honest, I actually don't overly mind them outside of that. Like, just looking at the jersey and not thinking about Toronto or Detroit, I do think they're fairly clean looking jerseys and I really don't mind them, especially with that Tampa logo on the white. I think that actually looks pretty good. But yeah, once again, it is just an okay jersey. It doesn't really do anything super special. It's more of just a clean jersey, so that's why it doesn't really go anything too up and above for me. It overall just comes out to be an okay jersey matchup. Moving on to number 13 here, I have the 2016 series in between the Pittsburgh Penguins and the San Jose Sharks. Pittsburgh ended up winning this series in 6 games. Now, we have already talked about these Pittsburgh jerseys, so I don't really need to rehash that. Not really a massive fan of them. The reason that this one is up so high, or at least higher than that 2009 series, it comes down to the Sharks jerseys. I think these Sharks jerseys actually look very nice, and I know they are kind of simplistic in a way. They just have the striping right there. They don't have anything at the bottom, but I love that teal. I think the teal looks phenomenal there, and I maybe would like a torso stripe just to really boost it up and make it a phenomenal jersey, but to me, in my eyes, I like these jerseys quite a bit, and that's kind of what carries this to number 13. At number 12, I have the 2018 finals in between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Washington Capitals. The Capitals ended up winning this series in 5 games. Now, this jersey matchup is heavily carried by the Vegas Golden Knights, at least in my opinion. When I think of gray as the main color of the jersey, I feel like most of the time it wouldn't work, but man, does it work here. I think it looks absolutely phenomenal on these Vegas jerseys. I really like the gold in the Vegas jerseys as well. I think that looks great. I'm not even sure if there's anything that I dislike with these Vegas jerseys. Maybe the red stripe, but it does kind of work well with this jersey matchup because it goes with the red in the Capitals jerseys. And obviously, these Caps jerseys is kind of what brings down this jersey matchup in my opinion. It unfortunately comes down to the word mark once again. I just do not like word mark jerseys. There are very, very few that I do like, and this is not one of them. I'm really hoping that the Caps do change their logo at some point. I would really like that a lot. But as for these jerseys here, I actually don't mind the rest of the jersey. The piping down the sleeve there is a little bit strange, but I also kind of like it, especially because of the fact that it has that red stripe underneath the piping there. I think that is pretty cool. It's fairly interesting. And I mean, I do like the wiggle on the shoulder as well. I think it's a very good secondary logo, but yeah, overall, this one does really come down to me liking these Vegas jerseys. Now we can go on to number 11, where I have the 2011 series in between the Vancouver Canucks and the Boston Bruins. Boston did end up winning the series in 7 games. I think this is a pretty good jersey matchup with the Boston jerseys. Even though I'm really not a fan of the team, they make some damn nice jerseys, and this is one of them. I think it looks really, really good. It is a very classic feel, but it hasn't really been around for that long. I really like the shoulder yoke as well as the striping underneath that. I think that looks great. The Canucks jerseys are also pretty good. However, they're basically just a worse version of their current jerseys in my mind. They definitely made some improvements, removing the word mark there and also changing the stick and rink to being white in the middle. I think that definitely makes it look a lot better. So even though I do like these Canucks jerseys, it's basically just a worse version of their current ones. So that's why it kind of falls down just a little bit here. Next at number 10, I have the 2012 series in between the New Jersey Devils and the LA Kings. The Kings ended up winning this one in 6 games. And for me, this is the most middle of the road jersey matchup that we've seen so far. I do not hate any of these jerseys. I do not love any of these jerseys. They are just okay in my mind. With these Kings jerseys here, they are probably my least favorite out of the Kings history. However, that being said, I absolutely love the LA Kings jersey history. Like, absolutely adore it. So even though it is in last place, it definitely doesn't mean it is a bad jersey. I think it's maybe just a little bit bland, and that's why I have it so low there. The Devils, on the other hand, I think this is one of their better jerseys. However, I still find it to be just okay. I like the black shoulder yoke there, and I do also like the red in the striping, even though the striping is kind of basic. Overall, the main reason that I actually do like this jersey matchup is because of the fact that you have the LA in the Kings logo and you have the NJ in the Devils logo. So you basically have the abbreviation of both cities in the logos. I think that is kind of awesome. Next at number 9, I have the 2013 finals in between the Chicago Blackhawks and the Boston Bruins. The Blackhawks ended up winning this series in 6 games. Now, I've already talked about the Blackhawks jerseys at number 17. Like I said there, I think they're fine. They're nothing amazing. I would like them to change, but yeah, they're just okay. With the Bruins, I kind of talked about them at number 11, although that was just about the away jersey. With the home jersey, I do think it's a much better version of their away jersey. I think the yellow on the black looks a lot better than the yellow on the white. It almost gets lost a little bit, that yellow does on the white, so I think the black really makes it stand out a lot more and just kind of makes the jersey pop a little bit better. So I do really like these Bruins jerseys quite a bit, to be honest. Moving on to number 8, I have the 2017 finals in between the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Nashville Predators. Pittsburgh ended up winning in 6 games. Now, this one might surprise a lot of people, especially because of how much yellow is in this jersey matchup. Usually, I am not a massive fan of yellow jerseys. Not that I hate them, but, you know, most of the time, I don't really absolutely love them. But for some reason, with this matchup right here, I just think it works. I really do. I think the yellow in the Nashville jersey just complements the yellow in the Pittsburgh jersey very nicely here. I can maybe see some people say that they blend in a little bit too much, but for myself personally, I just think it works. I actually really like this jersey matchup quite a bit. It surprised me a lot when I was doing my ranking here and I saw it up this high. I was like, I didn't think that it would be this high, but it kind of just is. Like, the Nashville ones just on their own, I do not like them. I do like the Pittsburgh ones though. Those are pretty nice. I actually like them quite a bit. The Nashville ones are very far down, I would say. I am not a fan of them, but for some reason, when these jerseys come together, I actually think it looks very, very nice. It is a very cool jersey matchup. Now at number 7, I have the 2022 finals in between the Colorado Avalanche and the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Avs won this series in 6 games. Now, once again, with these Tampa jerseys, I understand people's complaints, and I do kind of agree with people's complaints. However, just looking at the Tampa jerseys in a vacuum, I think they are pretty clean, and I do like them a decent amount. Same thing with these Avalanche jerseys. I actually really like these Avs jerseys quite a bit. I kind of do prefer the home, though, to be honest, especially if we were taking a look at the home Avalanche jersey versus the away Tampa one. There's quite a bit of blue in that home Avalanche jersey, and I like that actually quite a lot in terms of the matchup. Without that blue, though, I still think it is a fairly nice looking jersey matchup. I do really like these Avalanche away jerseys anyways, so that is why it's at number 7. Next at number 6, I have the 2014 series in between the LA Kings and the New York Rangers. LA won this series in 5 games. Now, this is another one that surprised me. It's actually this high up. Like I talked about with these Kings jerseys, I do think they're fairly okay, even though they are my least favorite Kings jerseys. It's definitely a jersey jersey that I've started to like more and more over the past couple of seasons here. Now, with these Rangers jerseys, I really should not like them because one, it is a wear mark jersey, which I've already talked about not liking those, and they also have worn these jerseys since the 1950s, which I've already said that I have a problem with teams just only wearing one jersey for a very long time. But for some reason, this one works here. I do like these jerseys actually quite a bit. I still wouldn't mind if they ended up changing their jerseys and actually having an actual logo as well, specifically the shield on the front. I would like that, but still for some reason, I do like these Rangers jerseys quite a bit. Maybe it's because of the shoulder yoke there and the striping underneath that. For some reason, that just really gets me. I really like that aspect of jerseys when they have that. I think it is phenomenal. So it's almost like a soft spot for me where I really should not like these Rangers jerseys, but I kind of just do. And I also don't mind the fact that it's the black going up against the white. I actually think that looks pretty good in terms of a jersey matchup, so it's surprising that this one is as high up as it is, but it's there. It's just there for me. Now on to the top 5. At number 5, I have the 2015 series in between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Chicago Blackhawks. The Blackhawks won this series in 6 games. For me, this one really just comes down to the fact that it's a red team going up against a blue team. Now, yes, that blue team is in white, but there's still blue aspects to that jersey. But yeah, there's a reason that so many video games use that blue versus red kind of aspect in multiplayer games, or at least like when one team is going up against another, is because it just looks really good. And as you can see here, at least in my opinion, it looks absolutely fantastic. These Blackhawks jerseys, I do think they look better in red than they do in white. And as for the Tampa jerseys, they are basically a worse version of their current jersey because it has the Tampa Bay right above the logo. I don't think you need that. I think you can get rid of that like they have in their current jerseys, and I do think it looks a lot better. But yeah, this is another one for me where the jerseys themselves don't really do too much, but them going up against each other, that is why it's so high. Next, at number 4, we have the 2021 finals in between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Montreal Canadiens. Tampa won this series in 5 games, and yeah, this one's here because of the same reason as the last one. It is a blue team, now the home team, going up against a red team, now the away team, so the white jerseys in the red accents, and yeah, it just looks absolutely phenomenal in my eyes. The reason this one is a little bit higher up is because I do think that these Tampa jerseys look a little bit better in blue, and I do also like these Montreal jerseys just a little bit more than the Chicago ones, although I still have issues with these Montreal jerseys. Once again, they've had these jerseys for an extremely long time, but I do still think they look pretty nice. Although, like I said, it really just does come down to the fact that it's a red going up against the blue. Just the clash of the two colors. It just is a very nice looking jersey matchup, at least in my mind. Moving on to number 3, we have the 2006 series in between the Carolina Hurricanes and the Edmonton Oilers. Carolina won this series in 7 games, and for me, this one really does come down to the fact that I absolutely love these Carolina jerseys. I'm really glad that they're bringing it back as a 3rd jersey. Well, that is the rumor, at least, that anniversary jersey that they wore this year, they're bringing it back as an alternate, which makes a lot of sense considering the fact that they wore that 25th anniversary pretty much all throughout the playoffs, at least at home. I really like the jerseys a lot, and same thing with these Edmonton jerseys as well. I really like the copper inside of the striping there. I think it's a ton of fun, and it also works for the Oilers as well. On top of that, I think the shoulder patch is pretty cool. It's basically that oil worker. I think that looks very nice. Overall, I wouldn't really say that like these really mesh as well as the previous two, but I do still think it is the better of the two jerseys, and I do still think the matchup is a little bit nicer as well. And I mean, you do still have that blue and red going on, although the blue is a lot darker than the previous two matchups. But yeah, I think it's a very nice looking matchup. I do like it a lot. And at number 2, I have the 2023 finals in between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Florida Panthers. Vegas obviously winning this series in 5 games. The one you've all been waiting for, and the one I think most people are going to disagree with me on. I've seen so many people, like I said at the start of the video, just hating on this jersey matchup, saying it's one of the worst they've seen, at least in a very long time. And I've seen a lot of people hating on these Vegas jerseys as well, and I could not disagree with them more. I absolutely love these Vegas jerseys. I think they're so cool, they're so unique, they're so Vegas. Vegas is really the only team that could have a pure gold jersey. And yes, I do mean a gold jersey. It's not a yellow like a Nashville jersey or anything like that. Like other teams have said that they've had gold jerseys when it is kind of just yellow. This is a gold jersey. It's got sparkle to it, it's got flash to it, and I absolutely love it. I think it is so awesome. Now, I will concede that it doesn't really look as good on TV, definitely not as good as in person in my opinion. If you haven't seen this jersey in person, I recommend you try and do so. I'll at least take a picture and throw it up on screen, like a close-up picture of my jersey that I have, because yeah, I think it is just so phenomenal. On TV, it definitely doesn't really have that shine to it, doesn't really have that, you know, pizzazz, I guess, in a way. I know it doesn't look as good on TV, but I really have a hard time bringing it down, which kind of contradicts my point with those Chicago Blackhawks jerseys jerseys where I said I do like the chain stitch logo, but you can't really see it on TV. So, you know, I kind of brought it down a little bit, or at least I didn't give it points for that chain stitching. With this here, with these Vegas jerseys, I just don't know what it is. There's just something inside of me that absolutely loves these jerseys, and they can't do any wrong in my eyes. I'm pretty sure I could go on and on about them, but let's talk about the Florida jerseys as well. I think those are pretty nice. Like, I know a lot of people maybe aren't a huge fan of the logo itself, and I kind of agree with them. I do still prefer the previous logo as to this one here, but I still think it works. Really, my only flaw with these Florida jerseys is the fact that the stripe doesn't go all the way around to the back. I'm really not a fan when teams only have the front part of the stripe and then it basically stops underneath the armpits. I don't like that because there's some angles where it just looks really, really bad. So I would have preferred if the stripe went all the way around to the back there, but I still think that these Florida jerseys are also very nice as well. The only thing that makes this jersey matchup bad in my eyes is the ads. That is really about it. Those jersey ads, I absolutely hate them. I think they're so bad, especially with that Stanley Cup Final patch. I mean, you saw it on like the captains and the alternate captains jersey. It just made it look so crowded and so awful. I really hate those jersey ads for that specifically. I mean, we also saw that with the All-Star game on these Florida jerseys as well. It just made them so crowded and so awful, and I really hate the ad patches. I really do. They just make adding other patches so much harder and look so much worse in my opinion. I really hate the ad patches, but it is something that I am ignoring for this list, which I really shouldn't. I know I should not ignore that for this ranking because it is part of the jersey matchup, but I want it here. Like, I really like this jersey matchup a lot outside of the ads. If it was actually including the ads, I probably would have this in last place just because I hate them so much and what they did to those Stanley Cup Final patches, but I can't bring myself to it. I really can't. So I am keeping it at number 2 here. I like this jersey matchup. I really do, man. I just do. So with that being said, what comes at number 1? Well, it is the 2019 series in between the Boston Bruins and the St. Louis Blues. St. Louis won this series in 7 games, and for me, this is just a very beautiful looking matchup. I really like it a lot. It has that classic feel to it, which I like. And it's not like it has that classic feeling because these jerseys have been worn for so long, or they're a throwback to their inaugural season jerseys. Like, they really aren't, and they haven't worn these jerseys for that long. The Bruins have had these jerseys since 2007, so 15 years, that is a little long. As for the Blues, they've had it since 2014, so only 9 years. So it's not like these are like historic, like old jerseys or anything like that. They are somewhat newer, at least compared to some of the other jerseys that we looked at, but it still really does have that classic feel, at least in my eyes. I also really like the fact that the shoulder yoke has striping underneath both jerseys there. I absolutely love that. I talked about that with those Rangers jerseys. It's something that I really like a lot. You also have the yellow accents in the Boston jersey and the yellow accents in the St. Louis one. I think overall, like, it's just a very beautiful looking matchup, and also it doesn't have any ads on them, so that's another positive as well. Yeah, it's just a very nice looking matchup, and for myself personally, the best Stanley Cup Final jersey matchup since 2006. And that is my list. Now, of course, that is just my opinion. If you guys disagree with me, that is 100% okay. I would actually love to know your guys' opinions in the comments down below. You don't have to do the full list or anything like that, but, you know, maybe if you want to do a top 5 or even just your opinion about the Vegas and Florida matchup, I would love to know what you guys think in those comments down below. And if you guys like this video, make sure to leave a like and make sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure to follow me on my Instagram, my Twitter, and my TikTok. Links are all in the description down below. But like I said, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.